They had walked into the room like two people who had been through a storm together and somehow made it to the shore without saying a single word about the waves they'd fought. Dylan, Wang and Shen Yue, two names that once defined the dreams of millions, were suddenly, without warning, in the same place, at the same time, and the world had stopped to watch. It started small, as it always does. A blurry photo posted by a fan outside a quiet cafe in Beijing. Two figures sitting at a corner table, her hair falling gently over her shoulders, his smile that half-smile he only gave when he thought no one was looking. They weren't touching, not exactly, but the way their bodies leaned ever so slightly toward each other was enough to set off alarms in the hearts of every fan who had waited years for this moment. The comments came pouring in. "It's them. I swear it's them. Look at his eyes. He's only ever looked at her like that. They're back. I can feel it." And then, almost as if the universe wanted to add fuel to the fire, another image surfaced, this time clearer. Dylan was holding the cafe door open for her, his hand hovering just enough behind her back that you could almost feel the warmth radiating between them through the photograph. Shen Yu's head tilted slightly as she passed him, that small, shy smile playing on her lips, the same smile that had broken hearts in Meteor Garden. But it wasn't just the cafe. Hours later, a short video clip emerged. They were in a park, sitting on a bench, and Dylan was laughing at something Shen Yue had said. Not the casual, polite laugh he gave in interviews. No, this was the deep, unguarded kind, the one that crinkled the corners of his eyes and made him momentarily forget the cameras that had followed him for years. Shen Yue, in turn, was looking at him like she had memorized every line of his face and still couldn't get enough. Fans noticed everything. The way Dylan adjusted his jacket, so it draped over her shoulders when the wind picked up, the way her hand brushed his as she reached for her drink, the way they seemed to talk in that unspoken language only people who have truly loved each other could understand. By nightfall, Dylan and Shen Yue was trending worldwide. Every social media platform lit up like fireworks, each post another spark in a blaze no one could put out. People dug through old interviews, finding moments they had missed before, a stolen glance, a shared laugh, an answer that now seemed loaded with meaning. They dissected his recent Weibo posts, noticing how the captions seemed to echo her old quotes. They pointed out that she had worn a necklace last week that looked suspiciously like the one he had given her years ago. And then came the live stream. It wasn't planned, at least not by them. They were spotted walking down a quiet street late in the evening, dressed simply, caps pulled low, clearly trying to blend in. But the streetlight caught them in a way that made it impossible to ignore. Dylan slowed his pace, looked down at her, and without hesitation, reached for her hand. That was all it took. The world erupted. For years, fans had begged for a sign, any sign, that their story wasn't over. And here it was, not in a press release, not in a staged photo shoot, but in a moment so genuine it almost felt like intruding. What made it even more powerful was that they didn't let go. They walked like that hand in hand for blocks, talking, smiling, sometimes falling into comfortable silences that spoke louder than any words could. By the time the clip hit the internet, it was too late. There was no stopping the tidal wave of emotions it unleashed. People cried, people screamed, people posted fan edits with captions like, "The comeback we never knew we needed," and "True love always finds its way back." But for those who had followed them since the very beginning, this wasn't just celebrity gossip. It was hope. It was proof that sometimes the world doesn't end where you think it does. That love can circle back, even after years apart, even after the world has changed around you. And, perhaps the most telling part? Neither of them has denied it. Not once. Dylan's team has stayed silent. Shen Yu's agency has refused to comment. And in the silence, fans have found their answer. Because if it wasn't true, wouldn't they have said so by now? As the days pass, the sightings grow more frequent. A shared breakfast here, a quiet dinner there. Always subtle, always unassuming, but never enough to hide from the people who can read the story in their eyes. The question isn't, are they back together? Anymore. The question is, how long have they been keeping it from us? The next chapter of the story didn't unfold on a busy street or in a crowded cafe. It happened somewhere much quieter, somewhere so intimate that it almost felt like no one was supposed to see it. Yet, as always, the universe seemed determined to let the world in on Dylan Wang and Shen Yue's secret. It was late afternoon, the kind of golden light that makes everything feel like it belongs in a movie scene. A fan who lived in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Shanghai had been watering plants by their balcony when they noticed a sleek black car pull up to the curb. The passenger door opened first, and out stepped Shen Yue, wearing an oversized cream sweater and soft beige pants, her hair loose and catching the light. She paused for just a second, looking around with that familiar half-smile that fans have missed for years. Then the driver's side opened, and there he was, Dylan. Not Dylan the celebrity, with the perfectly styled hair and sharp suits, but Dylan in a simple black hoodie and sneakers, looking more like the boy next door than the international star he has become. What made the moment unforgettable was what happened next. He reached into the back seat, pulled out a small paper bag, and handed it to her like it was the most natural thing in the world. She peeked inside, laughed softly, and playfully nudged his arm. Witnesses said it looked like he had brought her snacks, the exact brand she had once mentioned loving in an old interview years ago. From there, they walked side by side down the narrow street, completely at ease. There were no bodyguards in sight, no assistants trailing behind, just the two of them, talking like no time had passed at all. The video clip that surfaced later showed a moment that had fans replaying it endlessly. They stopped in front of a small convenience store. Shen Yue reached into her bag for her phone, but Dylan shook his head, gently guiding her inside with his hand at the small of her back. A few minutes later, they emerged, and he was carrying a cold drink for her, while she held a pack of candies for him. It wasn't a grand gesture, but sometimes love doesn't need fireworks. Sometimes it's the little things, like remembering a favorite snack, holding a door, or walking just close enough that your arms brush with every step. That same evening, another layer to the story began to form. A well-known stylist, who had worked with both Dylan and Shen Yue in the past, posted a cryptic message on Weibo. The post was simple: 2 emojis, a coffee cup, and a heart, followed by the words, "Some things are worth waiting for." It was deleted within an hour, but by then, screenshots had already been shared thousands of times. Fans started piecing things together. Dylan's last Instagram story had shown a sunset view from what looked suspiciously like Shen Yue's favorite rooftop cafe. Shen Yue's recent post, a candid shot of her laughing while looking out at the ocean, matched the color of the sweater Dylan had been wearing in a fan photo the day before. It was as if they weren't hiding, not really, they were just letting the world figure it out on its own. And the world was more than happy to play detective. One fan account summed it up perfectly. "They don't have to tell us. We can see it. We can feel it." And maybe that's why this possible reunion has hit so hard. It's not about paparazzi chasing them down or leaked photos from set. It's about these small, unguarded moments that feel real. The kind of moments that can't be staged because they're born out of genuine comfort, history, and something that has never quite gone away. The next morning, a grainy but magical photo began circulating online. Dylan and Shen Yue sitting on a park bench, their heads tilted toward each other as they shared a single pair of earphones. No flashy fashion, no makeup, no pretending. Just them. The caption that accompanied it from the original poster said everything. They looked happy. That's all I can say. And for millions of fans, that was enough to set their hearts on fire all over again.